Hello and welcome to Paranormal NL, a place to share your paranormal stories and stories of the strange in Newfoundland and Labrador. I have on the line here a new lady. I'll let her introduce herself, and she's going to talk a little bit about a story from St. Clair's. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline, and I have a story from St. Clair's Hospital in St. John's.
Okay, I'd love to share your story. The listeners would love to hear.
Perfect. So, a few years ago, like 2 years ago, I was admitted into the hospital with what was supposed to be a minor surgery, turned into a major surgery, and led me to stay for 7-8 days, I believe. So
Okay.
The first few days of being there, and I'm familiar with St. Clair's, it's always been eerie there anyways. Sometimes it's in people's heads, but I believe it's not. After I'd say 3 days of being like really sedated, like I know I was on some high doses of drugs, obviously. I had a big surgery. Coming around, say the third or fourth day, I guess they stopped giving me IV medication, and then it was going to be weaned off and taken as needed per se. I remember one night going to bed, I think this was probably on the fourth night, I'm going to say, they still had the IV in my hands, but there was no, medication going through. It was just there, I guess, if they needed it or if there was emergency or whatever.
Right, yeah, I'm a nurse. That's called what we would call a hep lock, or a little lock that we keep in there.
Okay, yeah, so they had that left in my hand, and I remember waking up at some point, I'm going to say it was 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, super quiet there, nobody around, and it was held up in my hand, so it was bleeding a little bit, and I pressed my buzzer for my nurse to come in, I guess, to either fix it or put a new one in or whatever they had to do. So it seemed like I waited a really long time. It probably wasn't, I'm not really sure. With that, I kind of probably might have dozed off for a second and woke up to a nurse on the side where my left hand where the IV was in, and she was stood there, and I was like, hi, I ripped my IV out, didn't know if you want to put one in or if you wanted to just clean it off or whatever. And she didn't really say much. She was just rubbing my hands, and I was just like, okay, I am not an uncomfortable person. I'm the one person that will make everyone feel uncomfortable. I'm not awkward or anything like that, but I got the most eeriest, cold feeling from this woman. I'm not gonna lie. I to this day don't know what I experienced. Either way, she goes to the right side of my bed, and she's just stood there, and I was that uncomfortable. I said to her, what's your name? And I was
right,
because she didn't seem real, at all. And she said, what's your name, real quick? And I was like, Jacqueline. But I figured, she know my name, she's my nurse. She then said, Georgina. And I said, okay. And it was just dead silent. There was not much, coming out of her mouth. There was nothing. It was just she was stood there. And I said, where are you from? And she's like, where are you from? And I was like, Mount Pearl. And I was like, I've never felt like that ever in my life. She then walks over to, I feel, the left again. And she just kind of stood there, and I said, you know what? I said, it's not a big deal. You don't need to put one in tonight. I was like, if there's no medication going through it, you don't need to tamper with it or anything. I said, we can wait till morning. And I remember her pinching my hand. I was like, the strangest thing, and she just walked. I don't even think she said anything and walked out of the room.
She pinched your hand.
She pinched my hand. I don't know. Like I said, if she was, I don't know what. I'm on a, hold on now. Sorry.
So it sounds like she's on hold there for a second. So
Yeah,
Georgina came to the side of her bed and pinched came to the side of her on the right side of the bed and pinched her hand. I'll let you continue with your story there.
So she then, I remember her walking out. There was nothing else said. I remember just sitting there very strange. I don't know. I don't know if she was human, if she was somebody that was probably on something. I don't know to this day. All I know is the next morning, my sister used to come in every morning to bathe me and help me because I had a hard time getting around. I was all stapled back together. She came in, and I immediately remember, because it was kind of hectic in the room then, and obviously shift change had come in, and there was new nurses, and everyone was getting a breakfast and getting cleaned up or whatever. I said to my sister right away, And when the male nurse walked into my room and I said, don't ever send Georgina back into my room again, he looked at me, he said, shh, we don't talk about Georgina here.
Oh, that's scary.
The rest of my stay, I never seen Georgina. I never seen her personalized. I have no idea. Like, what had occurred that night? I mean, it clearly was something, because for him to say, we don't talk about her here, so I don't really know if she's been around there multiple times before. I have no idea.
That is a very spooky story, Jacqueline. Thank you for sharing that.
No, you're welcome. And if you want to hear another little part about what happens downstairs, my daughter works downstairs in the X-ray and MRI area.
Okay.
So she was at work one night, and we all know the X-ray area is kind of spooky. If you've ever been down there, you know. She was sat down, and it was a dead evening. She was on her evening shift, and she sat down with her head down, I guess. I don't know if she was fiddling on her phone, or if she was, whatever she was doing, her head was down. And if your head's in, somebody walks past you, obviously, or, goes past you. And she put her head up because she either watched it or felt them walk past. And when she put her head up to say, like, hello, like, nobody was there.
Nobody was there.
And any which way they would have went, you would have still seen them. As, like, she thought it was, like, a patient probably, like, kind of in front of her. But there was nobody. So, like, and at that time frame, she's like, Mom, everyone's talking about, like, seeing nuns. Like, all the nurses, everyone upstairs is talking about seeing, like, nuns around here and stuff. I don't think Georgina was a nun. I don't believe so. She didn't have nun get-up on. She didn't have nurse get-up on either. She kind of had regular, what appears to me like darker clothes, maybe.
Okay.
Darker pants and shirt, but it didn't look like what the nurses normally wear, like their scrubs and stuff.
Didn't have any head, anything on her head either.
No, it was just dark hair. She had dark hair. Like I said, I don't know. I joked about it with my sister after. I was like, I don't know if she was like not human, or what she was, or she was. I have no idea what she was, but she definitely was a human being.
Wow, that's some really perplexing stories that you've got there. I know that there's been a lot of other stories that people have written on Facebook in different areas there. But folks, if you got any other of your own stories about either Georgina, the nun, or stories in the X-ray area, head on over to Paranormal NL on Facebook and check us out and share your stories, or reach out to us and PM us like Jacqueline did, so you can share your story also here on the Paranormal NL Podcast. We'll go ahead and get this story out shortly on Spotify for all the listeners and post it on the Paranormal NL website. And again, Jacqueline, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Oh, you're welcome.
Have a great day.
You as well.
Okay, take care.
You too. Bye now.